Have you ever wondered how a massive global company, we're talking thousands of employees, actually manages who gets access to what in the cloud? Well, we're going to pull back the curtain and break down the complete architectural blueprint they use. This isn't theory, this is the exact model principal engineers live and breathe every single day.
Okay, take a deep breath and look at this. Yeah, I know. At first glance, it looks incredibly complex, right? But this diagram, this is our destination. This is the whole shebang, the complete answer to doing cloud security at a massive scale. Stick with me, because by the end of this, you're going to understand every single piece and, more importantly, why it's there.
So how does this all work in practice? How does an employee logging into their corporate account end up with permission to do something very specific inside AWS? We're going to trace that identity's journey, step by step. Let's follow the request like it's a packet flowing through a network. And our journey kicks off right here, completely outside of AWS. It all starts with the company's identity provider, or IDP. Think of things like Azure AD, Okta, or Google Workspace. This is ground zero. It's the source of truth for who you are. It's what manages your account, enforces that crucial multi-factor authentication, and applies all those fundamental zero-trust policies. Okay, so once the IDP gives the thumbs up, that authenticated request flows into its very first stop inside the AWS cloud, Identity Center. You should really think of this as the grand central station for all cloud access. It's the one central hub, the single front door that dictates who can go where. And this is a huge deal because it means we're done with the old, risky way of creating individual IAM users for people.
Now, just because you're through the main station doesn't mean it's a free-for-all. Nope. The request immediately hits its next major checkpoint, the AWS organizations layer. This is where the company enforces the absolute top-level guardrails. We're talking about broad, company-wide security rules called service control policies, and they apply to every single account, no exceptions. All right, our request has passed all the checks and has now been cleared for landing at its final destination, a specific workload account. This is where the real work happens, where the applications actually live. And even here, the security gets even tighter, with super fine-grained controls, like specific IAM roles and permission boundaries that dictate exactly what actions you can take. And you know what's been happening this entire time, in the background, throughout this whole journey? Every single step, from that first login all the way to the final click inside an account, is being recorded. It's being watched by a centralized logging and governance system. In a setup like this, there are absolutely no blind spots. Nothing goes unnoticed. Okay, we've traced the flow of access. Now, let's get to what I think is the most critical part of this whole architecture, the security enforcement itself. We're about to break down the three-layer defense model that turns this whole system into a digital fortress. This right here is the heart of the security model, so let's make it simple. Think of it like driving a car. The permission set, that's your ignition key and your GPS. It lets you start the car and tells you the specific routes you're allowed to take to do your job. Next, the IAM permission boundary. That's like the car's speed limiter. No matter how hard you stop on the gas, you can never go faster than the maximum speed it allows. And finally, the service control policy, or SCP. That's the law of the land. It's the absolute rule that says no driving on the sidewalk. It's a hard no for absolutely everyone, everywhere. And here's how it all works together, like a funnel. Your identity's verified, you log in, and you're assigned to an account. From there, your permissions just flow downwards through these layers. Your permission set says what you can do. The boundary ensures you cannot exceed your maximum possible rights. And the SCP makes sure you must comply with the unbreakable rules. See? Each layer tightens the security of the next. That's how you get to bank-level security. Okay, so the theory is solid, but let's put it to the test. Let's see how this blueprint works in the real world when things go wrong. Imagine alarm bells are ringing. There's a security incident. How does a security operations center, a SOC team, use this system to respond in real time? Let's walk through the play-by-play. An alert fires. Immediately, the team dives into CloudTrail, the master log, to see the exact unauthorized action. Thanks to the SSO logs, they know precisely who it was. Next, they check AWS config, which instantly shows them a before and after snapshot of the damage. At the same time, Access Analyzer is checking if this created a new security hole. All of this info automatically triggers a notification that hits the team's Slack channel. And here's the best part. An automated rule can kick in and just revert the unauthorized change. The entire loop, from detection to fix, is incredibly fast and streamlined. So let's just pause for a second and recap, because you've just taken in a ton of really powerful information. You haven't just learned about a couple of AWS services.
No, you've actually just grasped an entire enterprise-grade security philosophy.
So think about what you understand now. You get the core design principles for IAM. You see why Identity Center is the absolute kingpin of this whole setup. You understand the power of that 3-layer defense with boundaries and SCPs. And deep down, that comprehensive logging isn't just a nice to have, it's absolutely essential.
And here's the real key takeaway. This isn't just some academic exercise. The mental model you have in your head right now, that is the very same blueprint used by senior engineers at the biggest companies on the planet. This is the gold standard for doing identity right and at scale.
So you've done it. You've mastered the architecture for securing the who and the what. That is huge. But there's another piece to this puzzle, another critical dimension, the where and the how. You've locked down the identity, but are you ready to master the network?